like Taylor Swift is definitely a cool, like, I'm down. I'll rock with Taylor Swift. Not ashamed to say that. All right. Did I bump this? I did. You need anything else, B? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Murphy Street Podcast. I'm the host of the show, Murphy. Joining me today, as always, my guy Bronson.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Rules on Murphy Street are always the same. Shoes and slippers at the door. Come inside. Let's talk story. You guys might have heard, we just dropped a new beat. We just dropped a new beat for the Murphy Street Podcast, and so if you're listening to us in podcast land, you're welcome, because I know you guys are probably wanting something new from us. So season 4, we got a new beat. Bronson says it's kind of like Taylor Swiftish.
It's very Swifty.
Yes. I'm not ashamed to say that I dig Taylor Swift, so I'm okay with that. But we
very
are
blank space. I don't know what it's called.
Blank space. Yes. So go write my name. But all right, what's going on, brother Evan? Evan was actually just in Disneyland.
I saw that.
Or he might still be there? Yeah, I was gonna say he might still be there. How's it going, brother? As a matter of fact, Ev, if you're still there, man, come live real quick and let's show us around or something like that. But we're definitely talking about Disney today. And if you notice, the name of this episode, or the name of this podcast episode, is Big Shot Bobs. And I named it that for twofold. Because we're going to be talking about the impact of two Bobs. I'm at work. Oh, man, we just missed you. But I want to talk about the impact of two Bobs before we go on to the actual stories itself. The first one, since this one is really short and I don't really have many things to say about him. Bob Chapek. What's your thoughts on Bob Chapek, B?
Bye.
Yeah. He's definitely a buy girl. And here's the sad thing is when Disney was thriving, though, he was there. He was one of the functional guys. He was CFO, I think, right? So he had some value, but the problem was when he finally took the reins, when Bob Iger was like, yo, I am tired, I need some time down. When Bob Iger stepped down and Bob Chapek stepped up, maybe it was the panic of the pandemic.
I think so. I think part of it also is, handing of the baton. I think the timing was just not right.
Well, here's my question, B, and this is what I think is the functional difference, right? Is Disneyland is made up, or Disneyland exists off of two planes. There's the Walt plane and there's the Roy plane.
Right.
It would not exist if it wasn't for both entities.
Absolutely.
But what happens if there's no Walt and there's only Roy? And I think that's what we got to see when we got Bob Chapek to step in. I feel like Bob Chapek has always been that money guy.
Right.
How's it going, brother Trey? I feel like Bob Chapek was always that money guy, and without a Bob Iger is a very hard guy, and he's the next Bob that we'll talk about, and he's the most important one for this story. But Bob Iger was the one that kind of definitely led with his heart, and I'll tell you exactly how we knew that from the Jump Street. But Bob Chapek was given the reins, and some things that happened under his rule is, what was that? What's the Genie Pass or whatever?
Genie Plus. He got rid of fast passes. Basically.
He got rid of fast passes,
well, actually not. Well,
he morphed it into the Genie Plus system.
Yes.
So basically, he packaged it and he sold it to the people who were already. And now, okay, yes, we can say that prices went up under Bob Chapek, but prices just always inevitably go up, right? So we can't really tack that onto him. But it's just more. I honestly will say this. I feel like portions at Disneyland, as far as like food and stuff like that, went down as well.
It did.
Yeah. And again, this is, and maybe it's not completely up to him, but he's the guy that has to sign off on this.
Right.
They went down, bottom line. You ordinarily with Disney, you understand that. How's it going, brother? Ordinarily at Disney, you understand that you pay a premium, but you get your money's worth for that premium, and that wasn't happening anymore. I'm assuming he's the guy who made him pay for $25 to ride. Exactly. And that's exactly the type of things that we're talking about with Bob Chapek. Right. And that is the reason why I feel like he wasn't successful. Disneyland absolutely runs off of money. Yeah, we need that. But first and foremost, Disneyland is built off of magic.
Right.
right? And so you need, if you're going to run the company, you need to have both. You cannot have one or the other. So now that we've completely busted down Bob Chapek, and I'm sorry, Bob Chapek, like I said, you were a very important part of the brand when it was flourishing and when it was functioning, but for some reason it all fell apart. And again, he was in charge during the pandemic,
right?
An unprecedented era in human history, and he had to try to figure out a way to traverse it. I'm not going to even try to grade anybody on that, but I do know this. I do know that he needed a little more heart in the way that things were dealt with.
Absolutely.
So having said that, now we come to my favorite Bob.
Wait, one more thing.
Oh,
so
yes.
I learned through some cast members.
Okay.
Bob Chapek actually had a nickname that people would call him, will not call him to his
Wait,
face.
can we say it on this show?
I don't know if I should.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You want to write it down and I can say it or something? I don't want you to jeopardize your status. Yeah.
Right.
I don't want you to jeopardize your cast member status. You heard that, Evan? You see Bronson was trying to give the inside scoop. Almost gave up his cast member ID. Don't do that, B. Okay.
Just play it.
Yeah. Ha! Inside joke. Nothing really. We never heard anything. He never heard anything at all. But moving on to Bob Iger. Now, Bob Iger, you have to understand, became the CEO and president of Disney back in 2000. And what happened in 2000 when he stepped in was he had a list of things. See, look, Evan wants to, so DM Evan, our fake thing that never really happens, but we'll hit you afterwards for sure, Ev. But Bob Iger steps in as COO. He has a list of things that he wants to accomplish. And we learned about this our first day at the Aulani when we became part of the cast. Mm-hmm. We learned about the story of Oswald.
Right.
And so Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who's my favorite guy. He's actually my favorite guy next to Mickey. Actually, I like Oswald more than Mickey just because of this entire origin story. Mm-hmm. But Bob Iger, one of Bob Iger's first bullet points of things to get accomplished was to bring Oswald back to the company.
The acquisition of the rights and...
Yes. And so for those of you who don't know, I'll give you a quick rundown back. So Oswald premiered back in September 5th, 1927. His little short was called Trolley Troubles. And it was, if you don't know who Oswald the Lucky Rabbit is, look him up and you'll see the early footprint of Mickey Mouse. And so Oswald the Lucky Rabbit was, in essence, the first Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Well, Oswald was created by Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks. Mm-hmm. And they were basically put out by Universal Studios at that time, or Universal. And the person brokering the deal for them was this guy named Charles Mintz. Now, as they're putting them out, obviously Charles Mintz wants his own little, I guess maybe he wanted to be a little more famous than he really was. And he was trying to put his hands on Oswald. And Walt was like, no, this is what I have for him. Charles started dealing with Universal behind Walt's and Ub's back, and ends up basically taking all the animationists from the Disney studio because they had gotten, like Oswald had done so well, they had gone from Roy, Ub, and Walt to a set of 22 animationists. Right. At which point in time, I think 19 left. Yep. If you can imagine. So it was basically they were bamboozled out of one, Oswald, and two, almost a business. And this is where we learned about the telegraph where Walt kind of sent a message back just saying
on the trainer.
Yeah, exactly, where he said we're okay. Yeah. And so with Walt, Ub, and Roy, they just got together, and that basically forced the creation of Mickey Mouse. Now, again, Universal took the rights to Oswald, and there he lived until 2005, when a strange, very, very strange deal, because I don't know how many places can say that this happened, but the rights to a real person were traded for the rights of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And I feel like it's very appropriate that the rights of the real person be Al Michaels, who's like one of the foremost best voices that you will hear doing any football game. So very much like a football trade, like they traded Oswald for Al Michaels, a straight up trade, and it worked out for everybody. And of course Bob got Oswald back, and that just goes to show you. And not to mention, Bob really started to pump some life into Disney. Yeah. Made amazing business decisions. He actually is part of the acquisitions of Fox, right? Mm-hmm. He was the one that brokered that whole thing. That was kind of like his last thing on the way out kind of deal. Yep. He was the one who, and maybe might have overpromised and underdelivered on this. Evan, Oswald was there for the Chinese New Year. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. And so that is actually where you will find Oswald, is at DCA. You'll find him there. I don't think he ever lives in Disneyland. I don't think he makes it to that side of the park. But he does live in DCA. You can find him a lot on Buena Vista Street. I don't know that he's ventured very far off. Other than that,
you enter right on the left.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and that's his little station, his little gas station area there. I'd like to see his Chinese New Year get up though. And happy Chinese New Year to everybody. Welcome to the new Lunar New Year. But yeah, so that's kind of like Bob Iger's whole thing. And again, his credentials precede him. Like, the man created the Disney that we know today, as far as with the Star Wars and the Marvel
films.
And folding all of that and creating this like amazing company that we have now. So a lot of that goes to him. Now, Bronson actually sent this over to me, and that is why we are not talking about the Bad Batch today, because we have more important things, more immediate things. Bronson sends me a article in which and it was from Fortune, in which the title is Disney's $5,000 per package Star Wars themed hotel is slashing prices as Bob Iger navigates his latest headache. And a headache, once again, that was created by, I don't know if I can say created, but what was ushered in during the Chapek era. So for those of you guys who don't know, there is a Star Wars. Hey, Ali. There is a Star Wars themed hotel over in Disney World.
Yeah.
Called the Galactic Starcruiser. And that is the newest hotel in the Disney brand. And what do you think, B? What do we think about the Galactic Starcruiser so far?
As cast members working in the Disney hotel industry,
yeah.
First impression, I already knew this wasn't gonna do well. Like, I had my doubts.
Okay, so
I stuck with my doubts
as a cast member
working in the hotel industry for Disney.
But this is a fully themed Star Wars ride, and so this did not appeal to you at all.
Like, for me, as an employee of the company, I kind of was like, how is this going to work? Like, it's going to be immersive. You have to stay there minimum 2 days. And, Disney consumers, they have the money. Some people have the money. Most people have the money. But, like, I'm like, that's a lot for just a basic...
I would agree.
...hotel room. And, I got to see previews of it before the opening, and they had people reviewing the rooms and, showing the layout and all of that. And I'm like, man, this is just like... It's smaller than, like, the typical...
So it's a Japanese style room.
It looked like those capsule rooms almost, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I understand you're paying for the experience. You're paying, for that immersive Star Wars, experience to be in the galaxy and all of that. But, I'm like, how is it gonna appeal to DVC or Disney Vacation Club?
And that so that is one thing I tried to investigate, and I don't know as far as like how your DVC points would be able to be utilized within this hotel. It has to be some kind of different equation, because this is a fixed 2 nights minimum.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. This experience is curated for the Star Wars fan or the fan of like sci-fi or anybody who wants to experience that. As a Star Wars fan, not a cast member, B, are you interested in this at the price point? Obviously, this is a real, as I like to say, the hard facts. The hard facts of it is, hey, let me see. I actually pulled up the prices, and we did this once before on the show.
Right.
So it's 2 guests per cabin. This is the minimum. Like, you can't say, oh, it's just me coming. You have to pay the 2 guests minimum. It is $1,209 per guest, or it's $4,809 for the total voyage. Now, I do not believe this doesn't include taxes, I don't think.
Right, and it doesn't include a cast member discount, as far as I remember.
Yes. Oh, and it may have. I'm sure they changed it now.
They might have changed it now.
Yeah, now
after the
because at this point, right now, they're giving up to $700 off the 2-day stay. Now, I did the math on that as well. Yes, be proud of me. I don't like the math, but I did it. And it's 17% off the rack rate. 17% off the rack rate is what the $700 equates to. It is super expensive, which is probably why we didn't go there, huh, Ma? But is that enough? Like, you're talking about $5K. You're gonna drop $5K. Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna drop $4,300 for 2 days. Now, I tried to think about this from a Star Wars perspective, as you and I are both avid Star Wars fans.
Right.
My Star Wars adventure happens on a planet somewhere.
Batu?
I'm just saying, I don't want to be cooped up in a Starcruiser. This is why. Now, if you tell me you're going to transport me, like, yes, when at the end of the day, after we fought our battles on Hoth, on Kashyyyk, on Yavin, after we've done those things, then we retreat back to our quarters and we have a great dinner and we, you know, have whatever kind of entertainment. Yeah, that makes sense to me. But they did not. Your entire, they said, oh yeah, you have this entire curated adventure for you and whatever other Star Wars fans are in your party.
Right.
But does your Star Wars adventure, do you think it can be fulfilled being on just the Galactic Cruiser? Oh, Evan says, it's a cool idea and will probably be sweet, but I would rather be on a planet. Yeah, exactly. See, and this is where I feel like, just like, I don't want to say Galaxy's Edge was rushed to market, but I feel like with just a little more thoughtfulness, maybe a little bit of a Favreau-esque idealist in the room, they would understand the little bit more, the little extra that it would have taken to create that experience completely. Because they do have Galaxy's Edge and it does take you to Batu.
Right.
You do have like a individual like escape capsule that'll take you to Batu. But what should happen is they should take you to a part of Batu that is exclusively for people of the Galactic Starcruiser. And there you can have like missions and stuff like that. I feel like that is the part that's missing, is that outdoor adventure and you seeing those creatures. You know, those are the things that, like when we watched Andor for the first 2 episodes, I was like, okay, this is great and all, but there's no droids in it. There's no droids. There's no aliens. It was subpar because of that. And so now I think they tried to flip it, you know, like you get the real lightsaber experience in there. We've seen Rey with the lightsaber, right? But you get aliens on there, and I'm sure some droids, but you're cooped up in this entire thing. And so
I absolutely agree with you. Like, I feel like there should have been, you know, not just set within a Starcruiser. Like, I feel like it could have been more immersive, kind of like take I hate to compare it, but like take Universal Studios.
I was gonna say, don't go to Hogwarts on me, Bronson.
Hogwarts.
Don't go to Hogwarts on me, Bronson.
Right?
Okay,
you know, you know Hogwarts and Universal, you get to actually go through like Diagon Alley or like, you know.
Yeah.
But like if they really thought about it, like I haven't been to Disney World, so I don't know the layout, but it looks like there's a lot of space.
There's a lot
of wasted space.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely.
And the hotel itself, from like a bird's eye view, it looks so small, you know. But like if they could make like different views, like Yavin or Hoth, like, you know, just.
Or if they did, like, remember where we see Leia learning from Luke and training in the Jedi ways? She's training in a forest.
Right.
Rey, she trains sometimes in a forest. Like, why can't they recreate that Jedi training outside in a setting like
they
that?
They could make like 4 different like areas, right? Or like say how Aulani's formed, right? There's like the Waikolohe Valley. Like that could have been something more immersive.
Right. I agree.
You know, like the rooms, they could be a Starcruiser, but like, let the guests actually go out and explore, and, you know, rather than being confined in just a small little building, right?
Yeah.
You know, like they could have easily done that, but.
All right, you guys. So let's talk about the brass tacks of it, because Bronson and I have obviously come up with some fixes. Whether Disney wants to listen or not, we'll see. But we normally get our words out there, like when we ask for soft goods and stuff, they normally come out. And so
Hasbro's listening, so
Hasbro,
kind of.
Hasbro hears us. They do. But here's some brass tacks information. So in its fiscal year 2022, and again, this is the Yahoo Life article, because I couldn't get the Fortune one to pull up, but this one is by Christian Hetzner on Yahoo Life. Where was that? And I just wanted to read some of it. There we go. In its fiscal year 2022 that ended in October 1st, annual operating income for the entertainment giant's tourism segment catapulted to $7.9 billion from just $471 million in the previous period. Again, that previous period, we were knee deep in. Actually, we were kind of like trying to step out of COVID at that point. Now, October 1st, 2022, that end of that fiscal year, we are like completely out. Like we are just pretty much like our foot is on its way out of COVID. And that's why you see this huge difference between 7.9 billion and 471 million. And now in that upswing, so anyway, let me finish this before I give my opinion. But by comparison, it's media activities. The other far larger arm that generates about twice as much revenue saw a 42% drop in profit due to mainly to its heavy investments in streaming to better compete with Netflix. So once again, they're talking about Disney Plus and what they invested there. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you have to understand if the money's all going to one spot, now if you're investing here and reaping here, at some point the push and pull is going to be greater somewhere. Yeah. And so it's amazing. Yeah. And so that's why I feel it's relevant, because, you know, to see that they took a 42% hit because of the bolstering of Disney Plus, I would say. And I actually like that platform. I like the Disney Plus platform. I hate getting these emails that periodically that says my membership is going up. But it's like little incremental increases, which, yeah, I mean, I guess I get it. It is kind of, they're sneaking it under there, but I'm okay with it. I'm still happy with my services. But they are spending a lot of money on this 7.9 billion, or on the Disney Plus side, and I think it's finally going to start to turn. But what's funny is this now the tourism side, which again reaped in 7.9 billion. I wonder how much that number will be now that we know that Galactic Starcruiser isn't doing well. Mm-hmm. And so here is what they have listed as critical misfires, all right? And I'm going to read this entire segment just so that you guys can hear what the article says is the company's problem as far as where they missed, all right? It says it also may be indicative of broader problems stemming from Disney's stewardship over the once beloved science fiction franchise. So, we've talked about this as well on the show. Pay attention. Here we go. While the wildly successful Mandalorian, a show conceived by Iron Man director Jon Favreau, helped launch Disney's streaming service in 2019, attempts to expand the rich universe has misfired lately. Now, let me ask you, High Republic, how's that book series going? Do you know? I feel like I haven't heard much about it. Have you hear anything about the High Republic, the book, how they tried to extend the universe in a backwards timeline? I haven't heard anything about it, which doesn't bode well. Let's see here. Series like Obi-Wan Kenobi disappointed despite the return of star Ewan McGregor, for example. Only Andor, the Rogue One spinoff, which, by the way, I thought was going to be like the flat tire of them all, which was amazing. Evan hasn't heard really, just a few comics. Yeah, for the High Republic, I feel like that's an interesting investment there as well, but we'll see how that pans out. But only Andor, the Rogue One spin-off series based around Rebellion spy Cassian Andor, has been a clear critical hit recently. I feel like they're being, because I guess Book of Boba Fett was considered not necessarily a hit. I enjoyed it. It was a little, it could have probably been a little bit better. I don't want to say anticlimactic because it was still good at the end, but honestly, Dave Filoni's 2 episodes preceding the final episode kind of like took the wind out of that sails. But still a good series, yeah. I would say. Consequently, rumors emerged that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, we don't like that name around here, a divisive figure among fans for entrusting J.J. Abrams with the 3rd trilogy, may lose her job once the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny premieres in theaters this summer. I don't know what that means. I don't know if her job is teetering on the success of the movie Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And if so, what does that mean? Like, is George Lucas going to take over? I'm not opposed to that. Or Jon Favreau?
Once Bob Iger came in, he cleaned house pretty much.
Yeah, and so you think he's got an eye on her? I wouldn't,
I don't know. I wouldn't. It wouldn't. I mean, I don't know what his relationship is with her. I don't know how they are as far as like business wise or whatever.
Yeah. That's an interesting one.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah, that's an interesting one coming down the pipe. So, fortunately, interest in the Star Wars franchise may return with the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. I am interested. B is interested. Debuting in March. It's March 1st. The trailer drew in a record. Listen to this, you guys. The trailer drew in a record 83 million plus views in the first 24 hours, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Disney is set to report Q1 earnings on February 8th, coming up very, very shortly. Oh, actually, wait, where are we? We're past. Yeah, like a week, right? Yeah, and almost like a week. Yeah, shortly after Bronson's birthday, as a matter of fact. So, with many analysts keen to see whether the company narrowed quarterly losses that had been that had ballooned by 50% to nearly $1.5 billion.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot. That is a lot. So, do we think Bob Iger will be able to right this ship, or will he have to close it down? That is the question I want to end this one on before we move on to the Splash Mountain story.
Well, Bob, I know he's all about like the consumers. So like I think when he was away, you know, he actually got to experience being a consumer. You know, he went to the parks. He's seen what needs to be fixed and teetered with, right? But I don't know, man. Like he did so much for our entertainment, you know, aspect of the company. It's kind of hard to say what his plan is.
Yeah. So, what if you had to guess? Is there a hope that Bob can actually recoup this? Do you think Bob?
I think he can.
Bob, if you're listening, just do what we said. Create that outer world experience, Bob.
I feel like he's gonna tinker with a few things.
I know. I want him to save it. I want it to work. It's Galactic Cruiser, and it's Star Wars specific. So me as a Star Wars nerd, I want that space. I definitely do, and I love the attempt that was made on it to create this experience for all of our Star Wars fans, and hopefully to expand our Star Wars fandom. But Bob Chapek kind of didn't do much for it. I feel like he was super distracted.
Yeah.
And so that's what we get. We got a half arse. I feel like it's like less offensive when you say it like with that English arse. We got a half arse attempt, and so now Bob Iger is set to fix that. And so when I named this episode Big Shot Bob's, it's because one, I got the name from Robert Horry. I know Evan knows. But Big Shot Bob is the guy that comes in and wins the game. Or you could look at it from, you know, like Big Shot Bob. Bob's always trying to be a big shot, which I felt like Bob Chapek was. And so that's why we go with that. But another thing that's happening, and probably this one again was announced during Chapek's reign as well, right? The retheming of Disney's Splash Mountain. So this would be a positive. Like, hey, glad I knew you'd get it. Ev. But Disney okay, sorry, and we're gonna be transitioning now because we need to wrap this up soon. Bronson has to go to work at the happiest place in Hawaii. But anyway, so I don't know if you guys heard, or you should have heard if you're a Disney fan, but the Disneyland or Disney World actually just closed yesterday for the final drop, Splash Mountain. Disney's California Adventure. Let's see here. I know that this one. Okay, here's the Splash Mountain at California's Disneyland. So California's Disneyland, which opened in 1989, is also slated to close soon, though the specific date has not yet been announced, which I think is really odd, especially considering they closed down Orlando. But I think they're just waiting for the end of summer, and then they're going to close it down. But anyway, both of the rides will reopen as Tianas Bayou Adventure, featuring Disney's first Black Princess in late 2024. Now, here's the thing that I think, A-Dubs, without question, this is a really good ride, especially on the Disneyland side. And especially if you like to get wet, just not during the cold months. But I think I love the duality of closing down a ride because of its, shall I say, scrupulous past, because of the innuendos that existed on it before.
Really?
Evan says it was open when we were there, just no water.
How is it?
I mean,
Splash Mountain without the water.
I don't know. Front seat, you catching all the water for everybody.
We'll get to that later. The article that I have has to deal with that.
So okay, and Bronson has a surprise article too. But that is interesting. So wait, did you get to ride it with no water? I don't understand. How is it open with no water? That's Splat Mountain. Splat Mountain. Yeah, that was way weird. That's like, well, no, it's not like that. Anyway, I hope you took a video. I'd love to see that, Ev. But okay, you guys. So I love the duality, or I love the absolute like oxymoronicness of it, where you're closing down a ride because of its racial innuendos and racial tones to open it up for Disney's first Black Princess ride. I love that. I didn't, but I saw it happen, like no water on the drop. That makes no sense to me.
That's like the best part of the ride.
I'd be like, stop the ride! Everybody stop! That's interesting. So, I guess they're prepping it. So that's interesting to hear. Thank you for the live report. Evan was just there. But yeah, B, Tianas Bayou Adventure. How do we feel? Do we feel like... So I can tell you this, having worked at Disneyland and having had to close down Tower of Terror, having been there during the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Lady in the Red Dress fiasco. I can tell you that lots and lots of Disney traditionalists will always give you flack, and I know that there was a petition that went around trying to keep open the one at Disney World. It says that it was signed by 21,000 people, and to no avail, obviously. And I will say this, I think that is the right thing to do. Bob Iger actually has a very poignant quote in here that I love, and I think just completely encapsulates exactly what you should think of when we move forward with a progressive mindset in the new ride. Bob Iger says that the new ride will be one that all of our guests can connect with and be inspired by, and it speaks to the diversity of the millions of people who visit our parks each year. In a previous quote, he actually said that the ride is not appropriate in today's world. I love that. I love those quotes. I mean, for those of you who don't know, some of the innuendos, first of all, the Splash Mountain is a ride inspired by the movie Song of the South. That should say enough. That should say everything right there as far as like why the ride should be shut down. But there were references to tar babies on that ride. Yeah, there were references to tar babies on there. So, I mean, again, I don't want to go too far deep in it, but that should be crass enough for you to be like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Now, I did not get to see the Tiana experience so far, but I do have a picture of it here, B, and there's a whole read. It does look like it doesn't change the look of it too much. I love the music in Princess and the Frog. Yeah. So I'm really excited for that.
Are they doing both? So are they making Splash Mountain? And I thought they were gonna make like the, what is it, the New Orleans area
Square,
like,
yeah.
Like her.
I mean, it would make sense. It would make sense, and it wouldn't take much tinkering with either to create that experience there. But yeah, very. I don't have anything on that, but I will say this: I'm very excited. I think it's a great step, and again, I love Bob Iger for the quotes that he put out there, and I love that Bob Chapek. We'll give him a positive shout out before we end this whole part. But I love that Bob Chapek said yeah to this. Like this was something that needed to happen, and that we're seeing it happen is fantastic. But Bronson, what do you have to share with us as far as your article? Like, so, let's hear this.
Speaking of water, there's probably a reason why. So I saw this article this morning, a day after, of course, the closure. So the headline reads, "People are selling what they claim is water from Disney World Splash Mountain on eBay after the ride closed."
Wow.
It goes into quite some detail about some of the people that are selling it. It says here, one seller listed a small 40-ounce jar of water claiming it was taken from the ride on the last day for $20. Another 10-ounce batch is going for $27, and a baggie of water is listed with a starting bid of $25. One of the postings also said, "I have many bottles that my friends and I got on the last day of Splash Mountain," the seller of the baggie wrote, claiming the water was collected on January 23rd. "It's very nostalgic to have a part of Disney from your younger days. I will ship them in the pictured sealed containers." What do you think about that?
I mean, that's the weirdest thing to me. Like, people do the most craziest things for money, right? And how do you authenticate that for one? I'm a big authentication guy.
You know,
let me whiff it. Let me smell that. That's not Disney chlorine.
Does it come with a what do you call it? A certificate of authenticity?
Authenticity, yeah. That's a good question. That is so funny, but yeah, that goes to show you exactly the type of thing, how fanatical Disney fans are. So I do hope that this goes through without a hitch, and I do hope it opens 2024, if not earlier. And I would love to be one of the first ones on the ride. Let's try and see if we can. We'll make that a goal of ours. Yeah, we'll try and see if we can be one of the first ones on the ride, and we'll go from there. So Bob Iger, after taking our tips on how to salvage Galactic Starcruiser, invite us to be one of the first ones in 2024. Don't worry, just tell the people at Disneyland Special Events my name. They know me there. But yeah, so okay, B. Man, I didn't realize that we were so deep, but time does definitely fly, and we are just about to wrap it up. So having said that, brother, you can follow us on Instagram. Instagram, YouTube, and all of the other channels before or that we've mentioned before. Obviously, we want you to follow us on Spreaker, listen to us there, and B, where can they find you at?
You can find me at my hobby page. It's snowstorm_toybox.
And you can find us at Murphy Street 808. That is MURPHYSTREET 808. You guys, that was your Disney Fix Tip for today. We look forward to coming back and speaking with you guys about the Bad Batch. Actually, episode 5 just dropped last night or this morning, so make sure you catch up on that. Maybe I'll just do a one-off as I'm on the mainland somewhere in a hotel or something like that. But until we catch you guys next time, make sure that you guys take care. Until then, aloha.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. Holy cow.
That's hilarious.